Tanzhaus Basel.
Welcome to Moving Conversations, a loose series in which I talk to people at the Tanzhaus about their work, their passions, and what they do here at the house. My name is Naomi Gregoris, and today I will be talking to Eva Dixson and William Bejedi. I forgot to ask you how.
No problem. That's common.
How do I say your last?
It depends where you are located in the world. The French people says, it's from Cameroon. My dad is from Cameroon, so it's Bejedi, the French way.
Bejedi?
But you have the German way, who is like Bejedi.
Or Bejedi.
Oh, the Bejedi, yeah. So.
Okay, I'll say Bejedi. That sounds very elegant.
Thanks.
William, you handle communications here at the Tanzhaus Basel. You're a choreographer. Is that the?
I think in English
it's
the
right term?
Choreographer.
Yeah. And musician. And Eva, you were invited by the Tanzhaus as a associate young artist. I think is the right term.
Yes.
And you are here for one term, and you're working on the one hand, and on the other hand, you're like getting insight into all of the aspects of
the Tanzhaus.
Dance or the Tanzhaus. Yes. So also like administration, stage, costume,
all of
etc. So you get the whole deal.
Yeah, big package.
So how long have you been here now?
I've been here now for 3 months.
And you're originally from San Francisco, right?
I'm originally from San Francisco, but my mother's Swiss-Italian, so I was raised between San Francisco and Ticino. I spent probably about 3 or 4 months out of every year since I was maybe 3. My mom would put me on a plane, send me off.
Ciao.
Somebody would pick me up. There you go. And then I moved to Italy, spent some time there. I studied there, started working freelance there, and then
and then you landed here.
And then I landed here. Yeah.
And you, William, you are a bit from closer. I think you're even from Basel, right?
No, so I'm from the valleys, from the Alps.
Oh, you're from
originally,
the valleys.
But
So you came down from the mountains into the Tanzhaus.
Yeah, exactly. With my wooden, how you say that?
Stick,
yeah. Just came down. Looks like a typical Wallis guy, right? No, it's like 14 years since I moved here to Basel. I met my partner, Bridget, and she got pregnant. And then I started to study at the Hyperwerk. And I fell in love with Basel as well. So here I am.
And how did you end up at the Tanzhaus?
Through Joachim Schlömer and his partner, Anne-Sophie Remy. They talked to Corinne Eckenstein about me and about my communication and marketing skills in crossover with cultural topics. So then we talked together and it was a match.
What about you? What happened that you ended up here?
It was a bit of a weird, very unexpected process. I honestly hadn't heard of Basel, that's also
city.
Very American, yeah. Not knowing geography, no.
You only know Zurich.
Yes, exactly. But there was a call for an audition for Joachim Schlömer's production, Rauschen. And I think the call was kind of very last minute. It was a post on Instagram, very small likes. It seemed kind of intimate, but I was like, why not? I sent some information and some footage to Joachim, and he asked me to come to the audition. And I was undecided because I got called to another audition. So I was like, which one do I go to? And then I was like, let's try Basel. And I tried Basel. And it was a 2-day audition process. And I got called back. And then Joachim pretty much wrote me a contract and was like, hey, we want to sign you for the year. If you're interested, this is what we can offer. And
And you said, okay.
I said, why not? I mean, come on. And now I'm in Basel. So, yeah.
That's pretty cool. And do you like it here? What is it like for you?
It has a very familiar feeling, but also a very kind kind of like, what is going on? Like, I don't have my feet quite on the ground. So everything is very new, but it still has that familiarity, I think, from like being raised a little bit in Switzerland and having a Swiss mother. But yeah, we'll see. Still trying to figure it out.
You have another 9 months.
Yeah.
So you both have artistic careers that are driven by movement and sound. And I'm interested in why you chose these careers, or did they choose you? So tell me a little bit about how you found into your art form.
You want to start?
Should I start? Okay. I mean, for me, it was never something that I choose. For me, it was like I've been raised with movement and with music, and it's something very natural. As I said, my dad is from Cameroon, and my mom is Swiss. And my dad was a DJ for African or specific Central African music. And he always took us with him when he had a gig. So for us, it was like normal to build up the PA and to watch our dad doing what he loves, like pleasing people by DJing. And I remember one of the most inspiring moments was always when my dad quit the desk and went down to dance with the people and just like enjoyed himself through music. And close to the music was always dancing, and dancing was nothing academically for me. It was like something naturally. Nobody asked me, how to dance, or it was just like walking or talking or breathing.
Culture,
it was normal. So when we moved to the Alps, I realized that through this natural approach to movement, I was a little bit ahead of other people, especially when I really discovered the whole hip hop culture. I didn't have like fears of trying something out. I was always like, okay, I like it, I do it, and whether if it's high quality or not, I just want to share it. My goal was always to be in this sharing mindset. Like, okay, you like a movement, you like something, try it out, find someone who knows how it goes, learn with him or her, and then go for it.
So it's expressing, but also sharing, and connection.
Yeah. And I think I really had the luck that I grew up in the Alps, and I had this small ecosystem where we were like the only African family around, and I was part of one of the earliest and first hip hop group, one of the first breakdance crews. I went to the first hip hop classes. I gave the first the first hip hop classes. So I always was like in a position where I didn't had someone in front of me or who
teaching you something.
Yeah. So it was more like this self-teached and how you say that? Autodidactically? Is it right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I want to say.
What's
oh
the
my God!
word?
I was like, wait, what? Yes.
Like teaching it by myself, and that
Self-taught.
Yeah, self-taught.
say.
There we go.
Exactly. Thank you very much. And yeah, through that, I really never doubting the fact that I was doing something artistically. It was like natural, and I always had the luck to find good people and to find people who are very good in their artistic work. So even if I was that good, I worked with good people, and that raised my level automatically. And yeah.
And so it's also not, we have these two words in German, Beruf und Berufung. And Beruf is profession, and Berufung is more like a vocation or a calling.
Okay.
But it's the same.
But
it's from the same word,
okay, Okay, got it.
So for you, it's both, or it's probably more the calling.
I mean, it's a calling, but when you really start repeating the stuff, then you get better, and at some point you want to make a living out of it. So you have to put the professional aspect into it. So as soon as you really professionalize your art craft, then you make it to your beruf, to your work,
Profession.
to your profession. Yeah, and I think in my early 20s I was really struggling with that. How much can I be an artist and stay as an artist and have my integrity as an artist, and where is the point where I'm losing that by getting money for my art craft? And I think that
You're doing well.
I have my peace mind now with that.
What was it like for you? You're much younger than William. You're 23, right?
Yes, I'm 23.
So how did you come to dancing, or how did it come to you?
I think it was just something that I got into because it was like, why not try? Kind of like you, in a sense that who cares? Just put yourself there. My mom or my family is very like, just do it. Like, doesn't matter how you do it, with who you do it, just do it to try. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't like it. And so there were a lot of things that I did when I was younger, from horseback riding to ceramics to I loved studying science to numerous things. And then dance kind of just like snuck its way in there. And I think my younger self found it very calming. And it was a moment that all of this chaos and energies just kind of quieted down a little bit, and I was able to like physically do something and be like physically satisfied, to like learn and put myself out there, but also like ease my energetic and mental side.
And I can imagine that you have, during dancing, I mean, I'm not a dancer, but that you have like these moments of complete concentration and you're like in complete contact with yourself.
For sure.
And this like the inner and the outer, so the body and the soul in a way. They're like totally in sync.
Fused,
and that's when it really hits, and that's probably why a lot of people do it, or what they want to achieve with it, or where they want to go in their dancing. Yeah.
But it was strange. I started with musical theater, and I fell off the stage after 32 performances. I broke my arm. I smashed open my chin. I fell in the pit. Yes, it was probably, I don't even know how many meters, but it was quite a lot. I got a concussion. They rushed me to the hospital. The performance kept going. And then I was like, I want to keep going. I liked it, even though like I had half a bone sticking out and all of this stuff going on, and my costume was drenched in blood.
I love how you're like, I am going to tell you in complete detail what happened. There was blood. There was this bone sticking out of my arm. So,
and then I went through the recovery process, and I started training in classical with San Francisco Ballet as a donor student. And I went to a public school, and so fortunately they had a donor program, and somebody was able to pay my tuition for about 6 or 7 years. I was with San Francisco Ballet, and I trained with them, and then I had to decide, go to high school, keep going with ballet, like what do I do? Do I choose the normal side? Do I choose the more athletic route? My father was a professional rugby player, so I feel like he kind of supported me and understood that it's difficult to find the balance between just being a kid and like making something out of it.
But you liked classical ballet because you said first it came to you so naturally, the movements, and then classical ballet is of course a very rigid form
rigid.
Of educational
but
program.
It's a good discipline. And I think, again, it's the mental aspect that I found super like hypnotic almost. It's like when you do ice baths, and everybody always says, I just can't stop doing the ice bath. I want to do the ice bath. I think it's because of that calmness.
That in-syncness again.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I started with classical, and then I chose to go to high school, but to go to an arts high school. And it was kind of a conservatory. So I was working in association with Alonzo Lines, the company, and I was also doing my education at the same time. And so I got the best of both worlds. I was in an environment that was full of artists and misfits that were also trying to figure out, like, what do I do? What do I not do? How do I do it? And yeah, and then I'm here. I kept going, and that's it.
And when you say you are here dancing and like gaining these insights, or are you also here creating? Like, are you also here in an artistic practice?
I think it's both. I mean, dance is notorious for having this like stereotypical idea that your young ages are the prime time to like, you know, move and all of this. And I agree with that completely. But I also think that there's a lot of value in understanding who you are and shaping your form of creating, expression, and all of that. So I think it's, you know, a bit of both, but also seeing the behind the scenes, because dance isn't just dance. There's so much that goes into it that's very unacknowledged oftentimes.
Oh yeah, it's invisible work.
Yeah, and I think seeing that you create a different empathy and gratitude for what you have the ability to do every day. Yeah.
So dance is not only something that happens here in the house, but it's also something that has to happen for and outside. And so there's always this aspect of a translation, or you know, like you're maybe rehearsing, or you're like working on pieces by yourself, but then there's always this moment where you like carry it out into the world. What is it you maybe as the Tanzhaus and you maybe as an artist want to carry out into the world? Oof. It's a big question.
That's a big question, I know. What do I want to carry out into the world through my dancing? I would say a conversation. I find that in our society there's a lot of there's a lack of transparency, I think, to be completely honest. And I think that
transparency emotionally,
logistically, everything on your day-to-day life, what you're doing, how you feel, even common things between people. It's like, why can't we just have the conversation? Why can't we just sit down and talk and not get defensive or not shy away or maybe get emotional? I think that transparency needs to happen. And I think with movement and with dance, you are obligated to be transparent. Like when
there's no place to hide.
There's no place to hide. You can't, not even within yourself, in your own skin, it's there. You're going to see everything, the wrinkles, the anxiety, the rushing thoughts, the pleasure. You're going to see it all. So why not bring that into like actual reality and society and civilization in general? And
it's interesting because dance is, I feel, is something that is very immediate when you see it. You know, you're like right there in theater as well. But dance is so, like something happens, a sort of mirroring happens when you see dance. So you see dance and they're doing these movements and there's, in the best sense, like some kind of, I don't know, like it's sort of contagious. And then you really feel it. You have like a very different way of engaging with it as a viewer than, for example, a movie or even a piece of a theater. But with music, I think it's almost the same. You go like, you have like a connection.
Totally.
And this connection is something that you almost can't achieve through words or through like things that only happen in the head. So, yeah, sorry. What?
No. You can go ahead because it's perfectly what I also think, and I think that's my philosophy and my wish is really that we find a way to not to bring dance to the people, but to make people understand that dance is nothing out of this world. It's nothing, you know.
And it's also not something elitist.
Yeah.
Because that's what often happens when you ask people, when you hear dance, what do you think? And they say, I see a stage, people, and they're wearing these little tutus, you know, these ballerina skirts. And they think it's something that's, in German, it's called high culture. I don't know if I think that's the way you say in English too. So
Elite.
this idea that there is something like a hierarchy and dance is on top when it's actually the most basic human thing, right? It's
Totally.
movement
Totally. I mean,
to music.
watch a little child put some music on and
They love
watch
it.
what happened. and it's I think the way the perception we have of dance when we are adults or when we grow up is like, oh, it has to looks good, it has to be nice, I have to please someone by dancing. But it's the most, how you say that, it's a universal language. It's a universal language, and it's super interesting because you have like dance movements which you can find in South Koreans dances or in African dances, and you find them as well in Celtics dancing, typical dancing. So that means that even if they are like far away from each other and they maybe didn't had like moments where this culture crossed each other, they have same movements. So that means it means something. So the movement is a has a meaning. Or also like in cultures you have like dances for weddings, or dancing for different type of. So it's a way of communication, and I really hope that we with the Tanzhaus we can create a house where people from every culture or from every different fields in our Gesellschaft, society. Thank you very much. Can relate and can say, okay, I come in this house and I want to have a conversation. I want to link up with the persons who are dancing, or I want to dance as well. And not just like, okay, I come, I sit, I consume, and then I go out and it's done. So it's really like this exchange. And when I'm on stage as a musician, that's exactly the same philosophy that I have. If I can really link up with the people, and then I reach this meta, this very, it's super hard to describe in words, but if
That's why you need dance, because you don't have the words.
exactly. But as soon as you reach these connections with the people, no words needed. It's just like exchanging.
I was
energies.
also thinking that it's something very, very joyful. Even if it's something that is sad, or that you're portraying something, I don't know, dark, the act of dancing, or of dancing together, or of only even just witnessing or watching dance is very, very joyful.
Yes, it is.
And I wonder what it is, why it is that way. Is it because it is something so primal, or such a necessity, or something that is so in us? Or is it just the fact that there are people together somewhere moving their bodies to the sound in the ether?
Probably both.
All of it.
I mean, it is our natural instinct to do that. Even animals, when you, as a dancer, we take a lot from the animal kingdom, so to speak. There's a lot of movements that each animal has, and it's their normal way of being, but it really is a form of movement. And so I think it's so natural, and we are derived from that. But I also think it is the community. It really, really is a community when you just come together and like witness somebody like putting their self out there in that way, and you get to witness it, and also you're, or as a performer, able to do that, coming together. I think it's just, that's what it should be, no?
We're in the Tanzhaus, so the question that arises in this context as well is the question of accessibility. So how do you plan to make this accessible for people outside of this house in order to be able to experience this? And also people who might actually say, I think dance is nothing for me because it's too high up there and I am not good enough or whatever. I wouldn't understand it. It's always like these obstacles that are in the heads of the people.
I think the first step is to listen, to be humble, and not to think that you know what people want. It's like go to the people, talk with them, invite people, like make it as simple as possible for them to discover the place, to discover the philosophy, to discover the program we have, and then talk with them. How do they like it? Did they were they able to relate to what you propose? Are they going to come back if you propose something equal or likewise? Or do they have other perceptions of dancing, or do they have other wishes for communities with different dances? And as soon as you have like this, then you can really start thinking about, okay, how you want to do your program, but how you want to promote it as well. Because I think the way you communicate with the outside makes it interesting for them or not. Like the language, the tone of voice you choose for the different ages, for example, or for the different communities is super important. So in the end, my goal for the communication and for the marketing is really like to make this house like a house where you feel welcome, rather in the graphic design or in the wording or in the photographic works for the documentation of the past events or the upcoming events. Like people watching it and say, okay, that looks interesting. Yeah, maybe I give it a try. And I think as soon as you are here and as soon as you witness the artist, magic happens, and then you come back. Hopefully, yeah, you can feel it, but you have to sell it before they are willing to feel it. Yeah, right.
You can really tell you're in marketing.
Yes, that was really good, William. Excellent. So the Tanzhaus, a place of connection, a place of conversation, and a place of joy, hopefully. Thanks for this talk. Lovely to speak to you.
Thank you.
Have a
very
good
much.
day.
Yeah.
Same.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Tanzhaus Basel.